Welcome to All Worn Out. I'm your host, Warren Meredith. On the show today, Nayana Kathleen. She won a big competition years ago, but she hasn't stopped the work. She's in Nashville, writing and recording. She's got millions of streams on Spotify. She's a very exciting country music artist. Let's get into it with Nayana Kathleen. Hi, everybody. Welcome to All Worn Out. It's a podcast about music. It's a podcast about what you're passionate about, and it's a podcast about what our guest is passionate about. I am very excited to welcome on our first country star of the program. We have the very amazing Nayana Kathleen. And
thank you.
No problem. We have a mutual friend in Sean Sisk, and he recommended that you would be a fantastic guest. And as soon as I started researching you, I was like, wow, so cool. So really, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm surprised he recommended me because I'm not good in front of a camera. So that's pretty surprising, but we'll give it our best go here.
That's unbelievable because you have like 11,000 TikTok fans, don't you?
I do. And it takes me a good 3 hours to make one video because I redo it like every single time and then edit it forever.
That's a real struggle.
Yeah, you get it probably. I mean, kind of like a one take, but you get it still.
Yeah, I'm trying to make like shorts out of these, so like to promote on YouTube, and then eventually I'll take all the shorts and like stick them on TikTok, but I still don't think it'll be like yours. Like your TikTok is very impressive, and like that's a difficult world to excel in my opinion. But
yeah, it's definitely not the most fun. I get it when people are like, oh, TikTok is so easy for like really big creators. I'm like, I'm not barely even a creator, and I already like have enough trouble with this. So I can't imagine having to do it for like millions and millions of people. But
when you dreamt about becoming a country music musician, vocalist, you play guitar too, right?
Yeah.
So when you dreamt about doing this, did you ever imagine that TikTok, this thing like TikTok, could be a part of it?
Not at all. So I have family that live in Florida, and during like the first part of the pandemic, we were in Florida with my family, and my cousin like kept being like, oh my god, you have to download TikTok, it's what we all use. And she'd be making TikTok dances like every 2 seconds in the house, and I just remember looking at her being like, I am never getting this app, like what's going on? And then by the time we got back to Canada, it was like, oh yeah, everyone has TikTok now. Like we were a few weeks delayed or a month delayed, whatever it was. And I was like, okay, everyone has it. Now I'm downloading it. Oh, now I'm posting videos. Oh, now I'm 10K followers. Oh, like it was just a whole thing.
The guys in the band, like whenever we talked about it years ago, and we're like, well, someone has to do TikTok. And someone's like, well, I'm doing, I'm already doing Facebook, or I'm already doing this. I don't want to do TikTok. It's a kind of a scary thing. It's I don't know, at least for us dudes in the band, it was like, I don't even know how we present ourselves. Like we have to be humorous all the time. Like, and as girls, like, I don't know what it is either. Like, there's pressure, I'm sure, like, oh, it's about looking good or this or that all the time. And it's not the same for guys, too. Image is a big part of music. That's never going to change. And that's okay, folks. That's just the law of attraction. That's just how the world goes roundity roundabout. So let me ask you how this all began. So whereabouts in the world were you born?
So I'm just from Barhaven, which is super close to here, and I've lived there my whole life, same house. But yeah, my parents, like I come from a big sports family. My brother played tennis. He had a full ride at LSU and Penn State in the States. And my dad's always been a big tennis, pickleball, whatever. So I basically just like discovered Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift one day. My parents didn't listen to music at all. Do you have that? Oh, yeah?
I didn't know this. I didn't know this. But with the world going around today,
yeah,
with what's happening, like I saw people posting on Twitter being like, shout out if you can get me some Swiftie tickets. Like I need to impress the wife. I need to impress the daughters. Like this is my one chance to get back in their good books.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just have to ask her. Like, and are you a Swiftie? So So that's cool. Like, so Taylor Swift and all these artists.
It was literally like Hannah Montana, like the TV show. It was just seeing that. I was like, oh, like I want to do that. My parents didn't listen to music, so I never had any like roots in old school country or roots anything. And then, like, somehow from there, my best friend growing up, like, she lived on a farm, so she liked country music. And I just kind of, like, literally just hopped on the train of liking country. And, like, one day I just kind of, like, I forced my mom to put me in guitar lessons, forced her to put me in singing lessons, whatever, because I was always in sports and this and that. And then...
Do you remember about how old you were when you were like, put me in these lessons?
Oh my gosh, my first singing lesson. So I always went to Hummingbird Music Studio in Barhaven.
Yeah.
I was probably 8 or 9. But before that, like, my parents, we'd be at events and they'd be like, oh yeah, like, sing a song for a friend here. So they knew I could kind of sing, but they never really put me in lessons. And then one day it just happened, and like, they didn't think I was going to follow through with guitar. So they bought me like a $50 guitar, like, little thing.
Good idea.
It was like, now I'm 22. So I started guitar, I think I was 10. And like, now here I am. I'm like, I've upgraded my guitar since then. Thank God.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
if the $50 guitar is still alive, like,
You know what? I still have it. I bedazzled it. It doesn't have strings. The neck is broken, but it's bedazzled, and I put it on display. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
yeah.
I've got my old original guitar, and like sometimes people come in here and they like start trying to play. I'm like, don't try and play that. I'm like, that's like not good. Yeah, well, that one's nicer. That one over there is like nicer, and the Hagstrom is okay to play. It's fun. But yeah, guitars are great, and starting that age is probably now like giving you lots of benefits, because guitar is a difficult instrument to learn, and like, yeah, a lot of people give up just because it hurts their fingers.
Yeah. I'm definitely not the most advanced. It was like, once I learned all my chords and I could write songs with it, that's kind of where I stopped taking. I mean, it was also COVID, so I stopped taking lessons after a few years. But like, yeah, no, I kind of just, now I just do the basics. Like, in my band, I'll play, but I mean, that's what I have a lead guitarist for. I don't need to play all those crazy parts. So,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, definitely, especially like, I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point, but being in Nashville all the time and playing so many acoustic writers rounds and stuff, I'm like, okay, I think I might actually go back to guitar lessons for a little bit, learn to just be a little better and whatever, but...
We're very similar in that way. Like, I kind of took guitar and went at it to the point of like, okay, I know these chords, I know how to structure a song, and I like doing that. But then I got to the next part where it's like, I see these people and they're doing all these picking intros and picking outros and this and that, and I'm like,
Yes.
you know, so I also heavily rely on my guitarists in my band, and I don't even play rhythm anymore, because I used to, in the old days, get off stage and my hands would be all shredded in blood, and I was silly back then, though. I mean, that was back in my 20s. I don't think I knew what the heck I was doing whatsoever.
That's me right now. So.
Yeah, you're way ahead of us of where I was, you know, like way ahead, and like Nashville people. So here we go. Like, all right. So you won a pretty big competition in 2019, yes?
Yeah, that was, wow. That seems like it was much more recent. 2019 feels like a long time ago. Yeah, I won. It's called One Artist Ontario, and it was basically put on, like, Sean was a part of it. That's how I met Sean, actually.
Huh?
It was like, if I had won, I got him as my photographer for a certain period of time, and I mean, I'm still working with him today, so clearly it worked out well. But yeah, I won that, and that's when I actually released like my first single and got into all that stuff. And I'd always wanted to. It was like, I didn't want to put out the money to do it yet, type of thing. And like, I didn't have anyone being like, oh, like, we want to take you and do this because we believed in you. It was kind of just me being like, one day I'm gonna do it. One day, like, you know.
And how old about were you when you went into the competition?
Oh my gosh, how old was I?
Early 20s or not even there yet?
No, I would have been 18.
Oh my
19.
goodness. Okay. All right. Yeah, you're taking the right approach.
Yeah,
then,
no,
I
we
think.
could do the math real quick.
No, I don't want to do math. I kind of wanted a ballpark idea. Like, it's just like just after. It's kind of like just after high school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it would have been in high school. It would have been start of grade 12. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to know what you want to do at that age and like start approaching it from that way, I think that's great. And kudos to you for doing it. I remember the old days, like many moons ago, when I worked on Canadian Idol and getting people ready to audition in the lines and everything like that.
Cool, I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, I didn't even sing yet. I was just working in television at the time, and I had to keep people standing there, you know, keep them from running away and getting cold feet, because they're going to go into this crappy trailer and sing in front of this producer, and he's going to decide you're really good potentially, or you're really awful. And if you're anything in between, he doesn't say anything. He just says bye-bye. And then he tells you nothing except you get a golden ticket if you get through. So these people will come running, and they were singing for me like 10 minutes before. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, she's great. And then this next person would come through like, yeah. And I'd be like, oh, God. Oh, boy. Yeah, so competitions can be rough. There is like a kind of a brutality to them in a way, because it's like there is an end goal. There is like, gosh, well, you won one, right? So have you been in other competitions, or was this like the main one you were in?
Yeah, no. So do you remember a show called The Next Star? It was on YTV. Yeah. Okay, so growing up, like when I discovered I wanted to sing all that stuff, my dream was to be on The Next Star and to win and whatever. And so I would have been 9 years old was the first time my mom and I went to Montreal, auditioned, didn't make it through. Went again the next year, Montreal, auditioned, didn't make it through. Went again, auditioned when I was 12. I might have been 11 turning 12 or whatever age. But I auditioned, made it through the off-TV rounds, made it through to the TV round, which was like coolest thing of my whole life. Like my mom and grandma cake. It was like a huge thing. And then I ended up getting a golden ticket there. So I went to the top 12, which was filmed in Toronto. And that was like a whole weekend event, like where you really see like, oh, reality TV is reality TV.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
They'd ask me a question, I'd say something, they'd pause the camera. Okay, so that's really good, but instead of saying that, say this. And then I would say things that weren't even true. Like, I don't know how to say this, but it's been so many years. It's probably fine now. One of the things was, so I grew up in the city, like I said, Barhaven. Yeah. But I was doing country music and on the show and whatever. And the outfit they picked for me was a pair of overalls. And I was wearing my cowboy boots because I'm a country singer. And one of the things they made me say was, I'm a country girl and I don't leave home without my boots and my overalls. And I just remember going to school and everyone was making fun of me. And they were like, we've never seen you in overalls in your life or cowboy boots. And I was like, yeah, well, they lie to say that. So like
they were like almost memeing you.
Yeah, but I was 12. Like I was 12 years old. Nice. So whatever. But anyway, didn't make it to the top 6. I was like the youngest one on the show. I'm honestly really glad I didn't make it to the top 6 because there would have been so much more embarrassing footage. Looking back at the time, my dreams were crushed. But looking back, thank goodness.
Ooh. Yeah, that's amazing. That's really cool that you got all that experience. At that age, and you got like that eye-opening stuff. I had some similar experiences when I got my agent in Toronto when I was like 16, and getting to see like it wasn't all glamour and some things were a bunch of hooey balooey, well, almost everything.
Yeah.
But it still didn't stop me from wanting to work in it and finding out more about it and all that stuff. It's really fascinating. A presentation, putting on a show, and like those taglines that they were making you say that are like so. Like, I get it. Like, as a producer, they're like, well, we want to come back. And as soon as we come back from commercial, it's going to be, Nayana is going to talk and you're going to give your tagline. And then it's going to go in. Yeah. And then it's going to go into a montage and this and that. And like, I get it. Like, it's all part of the package.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So what was it like then being in this one competition that you ended up winning?
So I did not expect, like, I know everyone says, oh, I don't expect to win, but like I seriously did not expect to win. Like I've been in like fairs, like the Richmond Fair and the Carp Fair and all that stuff, and won their like rise to fame, like contests, whatever, where you just get some money and that's it. But this one, because I knew like the prize at stake, and it was kind of similar to the Next Star where they like offer you, music and photo shoots and all this stuff. I was like, I just want to be in it to be in another competition because it was so fun, and now I'm older, but like did not think I was going to win. And at all. And then they ended up doing this thing where they couldn't decide the winner either. So they did a surprise, like top 3, where we'd have to do an original song that we hadn't sang the whole week. And it was a surprise. Wow. Like they were supposed to announce the winner, and they go, the winner is actually, we're doing a surprise top 3 round, whatever. And so
they Ryan Seacrested you.
But no, like and a lot of people did covers for the competition too, but I always did my own. So like, that's what I did, right? Like, I write songs. That's what I do. So I was like, oh, easy. Like, I've got 7 options to choose from. Let's do it real quick. But still didn't think I'd win. There was 2 guys. Craig, I can't remember his last name. And then Jason Kokobas. I don't know if you know him. Okay. But they're phenomenal. And they were both dudes. And I was like, I just feel like, there's not as many males. I guess there is a ton of male singers now that I know the industry. But I'm like, I feel like there's not as many male singers like in the competition. Like it'll probably go to one of them. So then I won, and I was just like, what? Like, I don't know. I don't usually get lucky like this. So it was really cool, and it ended up being an awesome experience. And I mean, it's kind of set me up for everything I'm doing now, but
Well, I don't think luck has a whole lot to do with it because, and I'll tell you why, folks, this is my opinion strongly, is you told the story about being rejected as a young person and then putting yourself out there again to be rejected and then putting yourself out there again and again and again. And when you see this with certain performers, actors, musicians, you should take them seriously because it wasn't bothering you that whole much about that. I'm sure you had faith in yourself. You had belief in yourself. You knew when the time is right, this is going to click. And you had that self-belief, I think. It's huge. I mean, even if you didn't and you were just willing to keep putting yourself back out there and be vulnerable, that's the way to be an artist. There is no other way.
Yeah, that's true. And even the biggest artists in the world, like it's the same thing for them every day. They'll want something, they don't get it, they keep going. Like it doesn't matter.
Correct.
Yeah.
How many times I love watching like clips on YouTube, where celebrities are talking, and sometimes the guys will be like, well, Brad Pitt's talking or something, he's like, I used to get all these parts, this and that, and then all of a sudden, this 15-year-old started walking into the audition room, and he's talking about Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh.
And he's talking about how DiCaprio enters the scene and he just starts stealing parts off the table from like him and like all these other big fish, who have been having a great time in Hollywood, So yeah, it's always interesting to get different perspectives on the journey. So you did like get a really cool prize package. At least it was advertised that you did. And I just wanted to ask you, like, was it awesome? Was it a good prize package, or was it like a lot of filler? Like, that's as mean as I'll be about the question.
So basically what happened was COVID hit. So this happened, I can't even remember the month, but it was a few months after when everything was supposed to start is when COVID hit. So the contract that we originally signed with all the, fulfillments and all that stuff, it all lasted a year. And COVID lasted 3 years. So technically, like, I could have easily been given nothing because, bigger things happen in the world.
Right.
But no, all my singles that I have out to date, they're all done by, his name's Jason Wilkinson. He's done them all for me and as kind of part of the contract, but not really because it's obviously taken longer. That's all been done through him. Sean has done a bunch of my photos, amazing. Corey's done my makeup, amazing, all that stuff. So what was originally, promised obviously didn't happen, but that's because of COVID. So yeah, I mean, I still got a lot out of it, just obviously not, what he wanted to give me because it just became obviously like impossible. But no, it ended up working out and like super happy with it. And, I got my nice plaque hanging in my room still. There was a super nice winner's plaque. So
Absolutely.
Still got that thing in my bedroom, but yeah.
Absolutely, you should. Yeah, it's something to be proud of. Anytime you can do that. I mean, like you said, you were up against some great competition. I know Jason as well. I've met him. Well, I don't know. I said like I know him. I don't know Jason, but I've met him with my band. I went out to go meet him when he kind of came into Ottawa and go look at his studio and all that and hear his story because he does have a great musical journey and a great story as well of perseverance and going for those big moments. Yeah, he's a cool guy. And of course, Sean, well, I love Sean. He's such a
real low Sean.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you if you don't, folks. So you were doing the country music while you were in this competition like that. You knew this is where the lane I'm going to get into.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Were you into Shania Twain?
So this is what, and I always blame it on my parents, but like until I had my band, which we formed in the past 2 years, I could not sing one Shania song all the way through because I wasn't introduced to it. Like I had no idea. So everyone in country music, everyone in me is like, oh yeah, like Shania, one of my idols. And I'm like, I wish I could, like, I obviously respect her, but I'm like, I wish I could say she's my idol, but I'm like, I only know the songs that I play with my band now. Like I was never exposed to her music growing up at all.
Carrie Underwood?
Yes.
Oh.
And that's literally from my best friend living on the farm. We became addicted. It was Carrie Underwood, Luke Bryan, Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, like all them growing up, Miranda Lambert. It was that generation that I kind of got into it with.
Miley Cyrus, gosh, that voice. And like, that's what I love about her. It's like she has the powerhouse name. She came in with it and she had all that weight. And she came in with the Disney and all that power that comes with being Miley Cyrus. But you know, she didn't need it. That's what I love about her. It's like that voice can just like punch you in the gut. And it's like, oh, wow, she's way better than her dad. Okay, never mind.
Oh, good. That's Billy Ray.
Right, I love Billy Ray. Like I was a kid running around in the, the streets going, "Don't break my heart, my achy breaky heart," all the time.
That one.
That was my childhood, okay? And like Shania Twain was all like, I grew up in Chesterfield in a small town, country town.
Okay.
And like all the moms were like obsessed with Shania. And I just remember like it didn't matter what friend's house I went over to, there'd be Shania there. And the mom's in the kitchen like, "I love Shania." I'm like, oh, like, yeah. And Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks was like king of the world when I was growing up.
Okay, yeah.
And if you like challenged that, you had to be a fan of Alan Jackson or Brooks and Dunn. But like Alan Jackson, I loved him, but more so like when I got into my teens and my drinking years. Yeah. And then I was like, Garth Brooks, whatever. I love Alan Jackson because it's just about drinking and having a good time. And that's what I like about country music, is it has these different angles to it. Whereas sometimes I feel like there's not enough in rock music. Sometimes I get mad because I have to do guy-girl stories or, going for that thing or whatever. It seems like you're almost limited, and that just could be my creativity. But I like how country music has found ways to hit it from all different sides. And yeah, that growth through pop music. Is that something you noticed? Is something you think that attracted you into it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely loved, and so when I say Miley Cyrus, like I'm talking like grade 2, like the prime Hannah Montana. Like as she grew up, I kind of grew apart. I mean, I still love her, but grew away from that because she stopped being country, right?
Yeah,
went off. But like, yeah, I mean,
she went off, started wearing those suits and everything. Yeah.
But no, it's seriously, it all goes back. Like, it sounds cheesy now just because of how it is now in the Taylor Swift world. But it's like it all started with Tim McGraw and Our Song by Taylor Swift, which are two songs that like she's singing about her life and about a boy she liked and about her experience. And like I followed that. And so when I started writing music, it was the same thing. And it still is now, right? Like
it's the best and easiest way to go. And also normally the most success as well. I personally, when I try and branch off otherwise, it can be difficult. I mean, that's why alternative rock brought some crazy writers and folk music too, like when Chris Cornell did like Black Hole Sun and stuff, it's like, you should be blown away by those lyrics and by the concept. Like, it's not easy to do. I'm one of those people who kind of has to go into the archetypes, find the archetypes and go from there. It's kind of more a producer's angle of things.
Yeah.
It's not cheating. It's just a different way of going about it. I mean, if sometimes I have moments that are great. I mean, when I'm writing and I'm like, ooh, cool. But I don't know. It's hard to bank on that sometimes as well. I want to ask you about writing because I was listening to some of your songs and I was making some notes about it. So like the Now I'm Drunk is approaching 1 million streams on Spotify.
Yep.
That's really cool.
It is, yeah. It's pretty awesome with like Apple Music. It's almost at 2 million now. So
did you ever think that this would be the case with this song? Like when you were recording it, were you like, this song is gonna punch people?
So you'll love this. What happened was I posted a video on TikTok of a clip of it, and everyone wanted me to release it. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I should release this one since this is what the people want.
Yeah.
So I did, and then this happened, and I was like, holy smokes. It was very cool. Yeah, it was. It was the best case scenario for sure.
I don't have any song that's done this. The only song I ever had, I've got a song at 200K, over 200K. And when that happened, right,
that is amazing today, honestly. It's hard to get.
It's super difficult, right? It's super difficult. And like that involved charting on the radio too, right? And like it doesn't, like that song, did that chart on country radio?
No, so that one we never sent to radio. My first single that I put out, which was Pretty Good to Be Here, Sent that one to radio, and I think it was top 30 on Sirius XM, which is sweet, especially for my first song I ever put out. But then after that, like, it was kind of just like a budget thing. I hadn't seen the money come in because I didn't know how to get it. 2 years later, I got it all in one sum, and I was like, shoot, I should have radio tracked the rest of them. But yeah, we hadn't radio tracked again until my last single I put out, which was, what song was that? Bought Me a Drink.
Yes.
And we sent that one to radio, and it played on Sirius XM again and a few other stations, which was good. But yeah, I kind of, between my first single and the last one I released, like, I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't seeing any money back, even though it was playing. And so I was like, okay, I gotta be smart about it and not, waste everything that I got. But if I would have known, I would have tracked a few others. So.
Well, I mean, Sirius is, everyone likes to talk about how that pays. Artists will talk, oh, well, that pays per play. That really pays per play. I don't know, folks. Nayana will know more, and I'm not going to ask you that. But that's what people will say.
Yeah.
And I hope it's true. I hope that it's better than what I get from SoCan for my radio plays here in Canada.
Everyone's been posting this week their 42 cents. Like, it's the funniest thing ever.
The bank started treating me differently when SoCan started paying me. Okay? I was able to start filling in, like, musician on, like, credit card applications. And the bank was like, yeah, you get SoCan deposits. I'm like, they're, like, for $5. Yeah. They're like,
Yeah, everyone was texting too, like, big payday, guys, get the payday. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Right? Yeah, well, that's why I think Sirius is a cool get. And, like, all those streams is amazing. But what I thought about, Now I'm Drunk, was it has this killer chorus, awesome instrumentation. I hear the dobra off the back, and it just makes me so happy that I did a folk album many, many, many years ago, and, like, it just brought me back to that memory of my friend playing the dobra, and, like, it just is such a beautiful instrument, and yeah.
This was all, I mean, Jason put the whole thing together. That was all his doing, so.
Kudos to him for his work, and kudos for you for giving props to people and saying that, because the musicianship is awesome on that track. Like, I loved it. And, like, everything, the drums, everything, I thought it was really good. Hellbound, that guitar picking pattern is sweet that's kind of in there. It's like a very nice picking pattern. Backing vocals, very noticeable in Hellbound, but in a very good way.
That's Courtney Jardine. She's from Ottawa also. And then, I think Mitch is playing the whole way through Hellbound. Could be wrong. I know Jason's playing too. But yeah, Mitch does all the solos for all the songs I have out right now. Mitch, Mainville, oh my god, I'm like, there's too many Mitches. Mitch Mainville, I'm sure you know him.
There's too many names and people in my head.
He plays all the time. He's like part of the Vanduras.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he was like, the Vanduras were like doing good when, like, my band Ginger Fox wasn't doing great.
Oh. Okay.
And then I started doing, and then Vandura. Yeah, it's like sometimes there's like this thing where you connect with people, and then there's things where you like walk through opposite doors at the, Pokeroo. Pokeroo, that's from my childhood. Again, probably dating myself there, but Pokeroo used to go missing every time this one guy came into the room, because the girl would be like, Pokeroo's here, and then the guy would come in and Pokeroo would just leave. But the joke was he was Pokeroo, so he would never be.
I've never heard this.
It's a children's show that I grew up with that was made in Canada, and there was this like monstery thing called Pokeroo, and he'd like appear and talk to this girl, and then you'd be like, oh, Pokeroo's here. And then he'd disappear. And the guy would come out and be like, I missed him again? Really? And they'd be like, yeah. And then, like, he was Pokeroo.
Oh, okay. I see.
So I liked in Hellbound, To the Devil You Tremble, because you're showing there, like, with the lyrics, like, you're understanding rhyming on, like, that next level. And I love, like, tripping out my producer when I do stuff like that, because, like, he's so musically gifted. Like, his ear is just, like, so ping, ping, ping. But lyrics, sometimes I can get him. Sometimes I can be like, yeah. And he'll be like, well, that doesn't work. That's not a real rhyme. And I'm like, it rhymes at 85%, and I can make it go. Yeah. So don't you worry. It's going to go perfect. So I heard that, To the Devil You Tremble, and I was like, oh, yeah, I like that. Very nice.
It's funny you mentioned that, because until 2 years ago, like when I started going to Nashville, I literally just wrote by myself all the time. I'd write in my bedroom at 2 a.m, 2 p.m, whatever it was. And I never had anyone like critique my writing or teach me how or any of that type of thing. Like I used to write with my vocal coach. Instead of vocal lessons, I would just songwrite with her, Tammy Raybould, and whatever. That was the extent of my songwriting, co-writing, whatever. So I didn't know anything about rhymes or like ABA, AA, like whatever formats everyone's using these days. Had no idea until like 2 years ago. I would just write, and I don't know, I didn't know anything about hooks. Like I have hooks in these songs I have out, and I didn't know what a hook was. I just thought, oh yeah, that'll work. Like that's what I want to say. Perfect. So now it's like, you sit into a writing room. Oh, come in with any good hooks. And like, I never would have done that before. Like I have notes on my phone with thousands of hooks. And like 2 years ago, I would have been like, a hook? Like, what do you mean? Like the whole song's a hook. The whole song's a catch. Like, you know what I mean? It was just one of those. Like I had no foundation. I literally just wrote because I had things to say. Like that's it.
Well, you know what? You were great, and you obviously did enough listening to music and enough understanding of music because you were putting hooks in and you were doing the things and making your chorus.
Well, exactly. I would like have a pre-chorus, and I'm like, I mean, I knew what a pre-chorus was. I knew what a verse was because I would go look up songs and the lyrics, and it would say verse 1, pre-chorus. But like that's it. It wasn't really like a thing that I tried to do on purpose. It just kind of came as I wrote.
Yeah, that's absolutely what I advise to young people all the time. I'm like, go to ultimateguitar.com, like honestly, or a website like it, and like search Bob Dylan, and just like look at all of the different styles of songs that he'll display, like lyrically how they're blocked out, and then you can get into the music how it goes, and and you can do it with any artist and really get into their formula. And producers do it. Producers figure out exactly how to mix like other people and how to sound and do this like other people. Like it's a game, and it's about finding what people like and bringing it to them. But like, hooks, I know I could feel you're really good at it. And so does Jason help you with that at all? Like with the writing at all?
No. So I just basically, I would bring him songs and say, I want to do this one, or like I would play him songs. He'd say, oh my God, like we have to do that one. That's my favorite. And I'd be like, okay, let's do it then. But like I literally had so my first song I put out, I brought it to him and he told me, this is a great song, the chorus, everything. He goes, but try to rewrite the verses. So I went home and I rewrote the verses. And like, that's about it. That was the only time he ever kind of gave me was our first song was like go rewrite them. But no, like I literally just did it at my house by myself in my bedroom every single time. And I still do that. If I'm not in a co-write, I write by myself every single day. So
see, that's interesting because at the same year, same time, I was getting the same advice. I was getting told because 2019 we released Down with the Devil, and that was like our first song that kind of got people going, oh, this band might have some good music here. Yeah, right. And so we'd taken that into him, and he was like, the producer was like, yeah, these lyrics are just cheesy. And you got like one right part here in the chorus. This chorus is cool, but like your verses, man. And I think it's part of producers, what they've been taught to do. And it's like, it automatically figures us out. Like it breaks down our ego. It breaks down that voice in our head that's like, that's my song. Those are my words. And I don't want to change it. You know what I mean?
That's exactly. He was trying to push me.
Right? Right. Yeah. And I think all producers, they know this with like an artist because I'm not hard to work with. And now like they can tell me anything. They could tell me I'm dog poop and I'll try as hard as I can to rectify the situation. But you know what I mean? I think in the beginning that's a tactic they use. Yeah. And also just so that it's a team. It's an effort. It's not no more just your say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about Swiftie. What else? Bought a drink. Right. So this song has a tagline.
Bought me a drink, yeah.
How did you decide to do the tagline chorus?
Okay, so basically, this was one of my first co-writes. So there's someone named Tanea Taylor. She's from like Nova Scotia or whatever. She lives in Ottawa. She's the host of Pure Country.
Okay, yeah.
But she's also
reached out to Tanea. I'm gonna bother her again.
Oh, I'll message her. I'll tell her. I'll be like, he's cool. Don't worry. Yeah. But yeah, so we went to Nashville together. I was staying at the SoCan house. But anyway, sorry. I was gonna say she's not just a radio host. She's also a songwriter, and now she's an artist too, and like the whole thing. She's doing the whole thing now. She's on it. But yeah, so we were staying at the SoCan house in Nashville, and
special rates or something.
Yeah, basically I just applied and like you have to say like why you deserve to stay there over someone else.
And
Like,
be a SoCan member. And then you can apply and it will like be cheaper to stay or something.
exactly, yeah. It's like you
Okay.
just pay the cleaning fee.
Wicked. Wicked.
But yeah, so I brought Tanae with me and it was right after my 21st birthday. So, you know, we were going out and whatever and having so much fun and just bonding. And the next night after we went out, we were like, okay, this has been such a crazy experience. We need to write a song about this. And we literally, like, we were outside writing, we went inside and, like, we were stomping our feet, clapping, like, just laughing, like, writing the most absurd song that we didn't think we were going to use. It was just literally, like, such an accurate description of what we experienced the night before. And then, I don't know, like, we were just singing and we did this. And it was actually Tanea that said, okay, let's add, like, this line at the very end, like, the tagline or whatever right at the end. And I was like, oh yeah, like that's good, let's use that. And we kind of went back and forth and we were like, okay, yeah, let's do You Ain't Coming With Me, Bought Me a Drink. And I actually swapped them before recording. I swapped the two lines. And I was like, is this okay? Because I did it already.
Well, what's great about it is the syncopated lyrics, and you're going like through a walk to a strut to a run, and like with the words, right? Like, I think it's the one where it's like da 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 da, like da 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 da.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
And it's like it's got this hopping rhythm to it where it's syncopated, and then it's fast and slows down, and that's great dynamics and all these cool little like cool tricks you got going on there lyrically.
Yeah.
And there's a banjo, I think. If it's not a banjo, again, really
Yeah,
cool guitar picking.
There's a bunch of things going on in there. But yeah, like writing it, we were like, we can't do a slow song. Like all our songs are slow, whatever. So we just start clapping, whatever. I grab my guitar, start bopping it. I'm like, this should work. Like this should do it.
Oh, that's great. That's actually great that you took it on like head on. Like,
you know, but honestly, it's like, it's such an unserious thing. Whenever I write with anyone, really, I mean, sometimes it's more serious, but like we're writing to have fun and like try to come out with something. But it's not like, okay, sit down, be serious, get this song. Like it's never like that. It's always like, this is for fun. We're hanging out with someone. We're doing it, like having fun.
You know the Under Pressure writing story? David Bowie and Freddie Mercury. So for a long time, the two of them really wanted to write a song together, and they just scheduling, of course, because they were both the biggest stars in the world. They just couldn't align. And so finally they were like, well, we got a night together. Let's do this. And they got together, and the bass player, Deacon, because they're just messing around, like you said, throwing out hooks, throwing out concepts. And Deacon just starts going, dun, 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 dun. And then they go, okay, whoa, whatever you just did, man, like that's the whole frickin' song. And they were like, okay, we did it. And they literally left the studio and like went and ate and got drunk and just like left. They got one hook and they're like, that's all we need. And they went out and had fun. Then they came back, and when they went into the booth, like Freddie just starts going, and David said like, I just was like, I'm just going to go with it. Like whatever he's doing, I'm just going to try and go with it. And that's why it's all back and forth, because he's just trying his best to do a little bit of Freddie. But God, it's so cool. I love music history and all the little stories. And you made some. When you were in Nashville, you decided to write a song. And when you were telling me that story, it made me automatically, my head started playing Walking in Memphis. And I know Memphis is in Tennessee, but it's just that triggering memory of the nostalgia and the dream of being in Nashville and going there for it and going for it. And you're writing and you're doing it. And that's so cool. Congratulations that you were able to create that moment in time and then further capture it. Like,
yeah, and I mean that's like every song, right? Like it's just you play or you write what you know, and that's kind of how we've been doing it. So
well, I just wanted to give you kudos, because I thought the songwriting is really good, and I also think it's improving, like changing a little bit at a time, but always in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. I just started recording in Nashville with some brand new songs, and like some that we had wrote literally the day before I went into the studio, got one done, and I was like, okay, this is the direction I'm heading. This is multiple steps up from what I've written in the past. And anyway, I'm super excited for that. I go back to Nashville in a couple weeks to do a live studio recording of it. And I'm really excited for those. But yeah, it's kind of like a next level coming soon. So I'm very excited.
Yes. I was asked not long ago, it's like, where would you go record if you could record anywhere? And I was like, Muscle Shoals or Nashville. And you know, like, it's like there's a few places, you know, other places I could think of in Canada that are fantastic, but like those two places are like legendary because it's just like I was looking at your Instagram, and yeah, people, you should follow Nayana on all of her socials because it's awesome. And like seeing all the different bars in Nashville that you were going and playing at. Yeah. So incredible. Like, didn't you go to a bunch?
Yeah, I was there. I stayed in Nashville from May to June, like for 32 days or whatever, and I played 21 gigs in those 30 days. And I got to play everywhere. Yeah.
Talk about making the most of it. Talk about, yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, like, so that was the longest I've been there, but every time I go, if I go for 9 days or just a week or whatever, it's like I'm packing in a show a day, a couple writes a day, studio time if I, you know, I'm going to the studio that week, the whole thing. It's like I go to have fun, yeah, but I'm like, it's work hard, play hard type of vibe. Like, I get all this stuff done in the day, and then I'm like, okay, I deserve a drink. Like, let's go. But
I get it. When we do the studio thing and we go to Toronto and we're trying to do like 6, 7, 8 songs in 6, 7, 8 days, it's like the days are insane. But at night when you're done, it's just a satisfying feeling that you get. And we like to have gin and tonic in my band. That's just what it sort of became our ritual after a day in the studio. We just get some really good gin and a lime, and it's so refreshing. So it's like, woo, so great. Takes a little bit of that edge off from the day because recording is a marathon. It's it's stressful. I think it's fun. It's so fun, but it's also a little bit stressful. A little, you know, it's
yeah. You know, we were just in the studio for 8 hours last week in Nashville, and then I had a writer's round play at 10 p.m. that night, and I was like, like, I'm gonna make it. It's a lot. It is tiring in that room. Like, to sit in a studio for 8 hours building a song is very tiring.
And did you have to like work to make connections, further connections in Nashville to get these gigs, or is Nashville very accepting of people doing this?
Honestly, I would say it can depend. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm a big talker. I'm very social. So I started going, I actually don't know if I should say this, but I started going down to Nashville when I was 19 years old. I like first went with my dad and everything, and I have an older sister. I would use my sister's ID to get into bars so I could ask people on stage if I could play a song with them.
Smart.
Like, I would just do that whole thing. And so I went up a few times, you know, before I was 21 and whatever, and that's what I was doing. I was making connections. I was going out, meeting people, doing all this. And then I had a bunch, but I still didn't feel like I had enough, like, close connections. And I was like, well, probably because I'm not legal. Like, I probably would have seen a lot more friends if I was legal, because all the musicians and whatever, it's like they play in the bars and they're doing writers' rounds, which are in the bars and all these things. So when I went down for a month in May, I was like, I'm going down because eventually I'm going to probably move there. And I was like, I want to make connections. I want to find more writing friends. I want to find a producer. I want to do all this stuff. And I ended up going, and I made sure that I went out every day. And, you know, before I went, I spent 2-3 months DMing writers' rounds on Instagram. And if they didn't answer me after a couple weeks, I'd message them again and I'd email them and I'd do the whole thing. And so, like, I kind of forced my way into getting a lot of shows and all this stuff before they knew me and wanted me in their shows. But then, you know, I'm there and I'll get everyone's Instagram and I'll connect with the host. And, you know, it's like a business. It's a business. You love all the people and you want to do it, but it's also you have to do it. And so that was the grind. I did it for a month. And then now every time I go back, I'll message a host or message my friends that write and, hey, I'm coming back. So like, oh my God, let's get Shan. We got it. Like, it's a whole thing. Like, now you have a community. Yeah. But it's a lot easier now. You got to go meet them, know them, and then, you know, say, like, yeah, if you're lucky enough, if you're nice to them, then you'll kind of be set. But yeah.
Amazing. Well, you just gave a lot of really good advice to people who want to get into anything. Go interview people that do the job, first of all. I mean, that's not even talking about music. That's just talking about anything. And I think you thought about things through that lens. God, I hate this term. It's a military term. Why does this come in my head? Boots on ground. So silly, brain. What I'm trying to refer to is like, go put yourself there. Go be there in the flesh.
Yeah.
And meet people and shake hands. That's better, Warren. Hell, all in my brain tonight. And so, like, yeah, you did the work. You did the layman's work or whatever you want to call it. You went out and you made connections. You talked to people. It's critical. You were confident. It's critical. And then when the time came, you backed the confidence up with skill. Also critical. So there's these, you wouldn't get asked back again. It's like there's these stages, right? And that you passed. The first one was, oh, she's friendly. I will talk to her. And then the next one was, oh, passionate. I want to help her. And then the next one is, skilled. I will continue to help her. And so it's this thing, right? And it grows, and you grew that relationship with all those people. And the fact you did it as an underager, I mean,
I know, it's really started from the bottom out there.
That's so cool. That's such like a 90s theme to it. That feels like, you're Alanis Morissette or like some like young Canadian girl going into the bars here when they're 19 or 17 trying to do it. Like you were doing that in Nashville. That's so cool. That's a superstar story right there, in my opinion.
Thank you.
No problem. And so you have played like the Horseshoe Tavern in Toronto.
Yeah.
Did you like playing there?
I loved it. Yeah. So I was opening for one of my good friends. His name's Dallas Alexander.
Okay.
He is absolutely crushing it right now in country music. He's also moving down to Nashville. He's going back and forth. But yeah, I was opening for him there because we had just done Barney Dance and Theater together a week before. And he was like, oh, you might as well come out to Toronto. But yeah, that was cool. That was a really fun show in Toronto, and Barney dancing and the whole thing.
Yeah, Barney dancing was cool, like big, or what was that? I've never.
Yeah, so I mean, it was all his doing. He sold out both the venues, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
Definitely the one in Ottawa, if not close to sold out the one in Toronto. So yeah, I mean, I was just lucky he brought me along. I was like, thanks, man. Let me live anytime. But yeah, he's crushing it. So that was all his thing though. That was pretty cool for him
and
me.
Heck yes. And let's go back for a minute. I want you to kind of explain to the people out there what was it called again? It's not a writer's circle.
A writer's round.
A writer's round. Could you explain maybe a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah. So basically, this is what gets me stopped at the border every time too, because they don't know what it is either. But it's basically like you have 3 or 4, sometimes less, sometimes more writers. And they can be Nashville, they can be writers that have written for Blake Shelton and Luke Bryan and everyone. And you basically just go in a round, one by one, but you're all on stage together, and you sing a song that you've written. So, like, it's super cool because sometimes you'll be sitting there and, the biggest song in country music right now, like, they start playing it, and they're like, wait, but it's a writer's round. And it's like, yeah, they wrote that. Like, it's just so cool. And then, there's people like me where, I'm Canadian. You probably haven't heard any yet, but if they like them, it's cool. And that's just like a huge thing that they do all over Nashville. And yeah, it's just to get your songs heard and to connect with other artists, and it's a whole thing down there.
Does they give you advice? Like, will they stop while you're playing, or do they tell you after?
No, it's literally just for whoever comes and shows up and whatever. But the takeaway that I get from it always is the writers that I'm sitting next to are friggin' incredible. So you connect with them, and then you set up a write with them, and then you get songs of it. And it's like it can.
And maybe they see your song and they're like, "Oh, I like that, but I can do something with it."
Well, exactly. Like I've had friends that have played in writers' rounds. Someone in the audience is like, "I work with Universal. That's the next hit song. We want to like get a meeting with you." So it all depends on like what.
I think again, maybe you're giving away too many gems of secrets here to the beautiful people. But I mean, it takes a lot of work to do what you're doing, so not really. But the thing is like what you're doing there is like a whole other angle to like this industry of how to make connections, how to write songs, how to get better at writing songs, all these things. And you found this one lane, which is very particular, but excellent. Like that's really cool. Last night, I was talking to John Allaire here of Ottawa, and he runs something very similar, like to what you're talking about at Quinn's, and has been doing it there on Bank Street for 15 years. And it's like a community of writers. And I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I didn't get into that.
They meet every Saturday for the last 15 years. And John Allaire is like this legend in Ottawa music.
I totally know him. Yeah.
And like, yeah, so I'm like,
what? Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm coming, John. And he's like, well, do you want a spot or whatever? Like, and I'm like, no, like, I'm just going to come watch first. Like, I'm blown away that this exists.
Yeah, I did
Like,
not know about that.
so yeah, keep your ears and your eyes open, folks. Like, these opportunities that you're talking about, like, they exist on some level here too, you know, and I just found out about yesterday. So very cool that you did that, and ballsy, if you want to call it that or whatever. But I mean, what are your thoughts? This is kind of a random offshoot question. What are your thoughts on like Post Malone and like teaming up with Morgan Wallen and like killing it, and then like, you know, these artists who haven't put the work in to be country, but then they just like, is this a thing anymore? Does it matter? Does character matter anymore?
So it's actually funny. So Post Malone, I feel like, is like one of them. So he's always in Nashville. I'm pretty sure he lives in Nashville. He's always at this one bar that I also go to every time I go out. And he like has played with a bunch of my friends that play there and been in the back room with them and all this stuff. And like Post Malone, I feel like he was actually born to do country music. Like he was already a star and whatever, and I knew some of his songs. But like he's definitely meant to do country music, so I'm not mad about that at all.
Okay. Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll? Okay, see, I feel the same. I'm like, he was meant to do country music.
MGK.
Maybe not.
Okay, so here we go. So this is my opinion.
Is he doing country music?
He tried. No, he went rap to rock. Sorry, but
okay.
he'd probably try it. But sorry, my bad. Beyonce did.
Okay, see, like, her album is amazing. But I'm also like, but it's Beyonce. Like, you are the queen of not country music. So it was like, but like, it was an amazing album.
This is my opinion, and this is just my opinion. I'm an outsider, okay? I've seen this before. They're stealing your thunder. It's this game that we're in. It's about hype. It's all about who's the coolest, where do you want to be? What song should you be listening to when you want to feel your best? All these different little things. And what I've noticed is, well, it's not anyone's fault. It's genius. It's business. It's people going, well, Jelly Roll, you know, maybe they'll think of you as a rapper. Like, we could market you that way, but like, what if we spin it? What if we do it a little bit that way? And then what do you think? And same thing. Well, Post Malone, yeah, the world doesn't know that you hang out in Nashville and that you're a wicked songwriter. But what if we stood you beside Morgan Wallen and then we let you throw punches and people go, oh, well, he sounds great with Morgan Wallen. It's like, it's genius marketing. And I do like that these people are able to creatively express themselves in maybe ways that in the past artists weren't able to. But my goodness, don't ever try and stop Nayana when she tries to release her hip-hop album. That's my only final thoughts on that.
Fair enough, honestly. Yeah, no, but like Post Malone is, I mean, he's in there with all the guys. Like
He's one of my favorites.
He's in Nashville every day. And I think there was like something about him growing up. I feel like I saw this before his whole album and anything came to light. It was like he used to sing country songs like for fun, like that's what he did. But then when he came to actually being an artist, he ended up going, I don't know even what he was, rap or R&B.
Can you do the vibrato shaky thing that he does? Yeah, I can't do it. I sound like Elmer Fudd or something when I do it. Like I can't, or Peter Griffin. You know, like, I can't do that. But when I hear it, I do hear country usefulness in it to country music.
Yeah. Like it makes sense.
Oh yeah,
Totally.
and like the fact he developed that is very special and very cool. Like,
yeah.
The more I get into vocals, the more I'm amazed by what young people figure out at such young ages. And yeah, people are like, oh, you need this songwriter, you need that songwriter. Sometimes young people they know what to say for their generation. And I tell the story again of the band Free way back in the 70s. And they're 15 years old at a band competition. And they lose and they get booed off stage. And they're walking down. And future legendary bassist goes and says to the band, he's like, guys, all right now. It's all right now. And then they all started singing it down the hallway together. And you know what? It became the biggest song in the world. Just because some dudes decided, hey, it's all right now. We lost, but it's all right. We're still going to pick it up. We're going to kill it tomorrow. And they did. And like, that's the power of music. That's why it's like, for a hockey game, I want to listen to Queen. I want to listen to We Will Rock You and the anthems. Like, God, music is just, it's pure power. Pure power.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting me excited because you've had so much, you're having great success, and I'm so proud of you. And we just met today, but I'm so excited for your future, for what you're going to do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, millions of streams. People should be jumping on now. Don't wait for her to have a billion streams. Do it now. Like, become a fan and jump in. Country music is so hot. And I have so many different opinions on it that I won't give to the world right now. But, like, drums. What are your thoughts? Like, have you listened to old country music? Do you like old country music?
Yeah, so this is the whole thing, and you'll hear it with some of my songs. I wouldn't say, like, old. I mean, I would love to listen to old country music, and just doesn't happen on my day-to-day. But, like, artists like Tyler Childers and Zach Top are, like, they're kind of bringing
That
old country
style.
music back. And that's what I'm starting to do now also. So it's like the new version of like real country music is what I'm leaning towards now. Instead of like that pop country, I'm going, yeah. And like, I mean, I'm a huge Tyler Childers fan, so it really makes sense. But yeah, like that's kind of where I'm going now. And so I definitely need to start listening to like some actual classic old country tunes. I mean, I know the big ones, but like I said, I was never exposed to country music when I was younger and whatever, so it's just kind of what I found on my own nowadays. But
maybe
yeah.
do some YouTubing of Grand Ole Opry stage moments, like great moments there. Like, God, like I love Patsy Cline, but that's what my mom grew up singing and going to competitions singing. Like you said, you'd go to Richmond Fair and this and that. So she would sing Patsy Cline.
Yeah.
So I love old country. Hank Williams and all that good stuff. Like the old stuff is
Oh, and like I know it's good too. That's the thing. I'm like, I know it's so good, and I'm like, I wish I knew more of it. Like,
lots of time. You'll find you're gonna hear a billion more songs. And that's gonna be the good.
Well, and you know what? Every time I go to the Grand Ole Opry to watch, it's like you have your current big country artists at the end, but leading up to it, it's all the legends like that always play. So it's and it's amazing every time. And they can be as old as freaking 80, and they're up there. Like, I once saw the guys that made the Toy Story theme song. Cannot remember their names right now. But there's, I think, 4 or 5 of them in a band, and they're all probably pushing 90 at this point. And they were up there singing their songs with their friggin' accordion, like, the whole thing. And I was blown away. I was like, highlight of the night right there.
The songs like doodly doo 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 doo.
Is that the theme song?
Oh yeah. Very like very tough. You got a friend in me.
Yeah,
That one really?
And they wear like these suits with like the shoulder pads like sparkly, like the whole. They're in the Country Hall of Fame. Yeah, they're insane.
Randy Newman is the guy singing the song.
Okay.
I think. And he's like this famous singer who sings, I think I'm right about this. I could be completely wrong, folks. But he has this weird style of singing where it's like,
yeah, it was probably.
Yeah, and then so they're the band, I guess.
It must be the band, yes. It must be. I saw them.
So cool. And you've been to the Grand Ole Opry. That's so amazing, too. You're living the dream. This is something we used to say in TV on really hot, long days when we were dying. And we'd be like, living the dream. But you're actually living the dream.
I'm like forcing my way into living the dream. Like, technically, I shouldn't be going to Nashville every month and doing it. Like, technically, if you were to look in my wallet. But I'm like, I don't have a choice. I got to do it. You got to spend money to make money. That's kind of that way. So I'm like, I'm just forcing my way into living the dream right now. Fake it till you make it.
I'm moving to Nashville.
Yeah.
Just joking. No, but it is inspiring. Like the way you're going at this, the way you are tackling this, it's inspiring. And in my opinion, based on what I've read and based on who I've spoken with, this is the right way to go about it. And gosh, I wish more of us could do this. I wish more of us did do this because you are on the right path. I fully, truly believe it, that you are on the right path. And if the millions of streams and all the other good stuff coming, doesn't make you remember it, like, I think you're definitely
Thank you.
going to have some excellent big things to come up. And people are going to come back. They're going to watch this podcast. They're going to see the gems that you threw out for all the artists to pick up and go, oh, there is somewhere for me to go.
I'm like, should I have been keeping that a secret?
You know what? The whole reason I made this podcast is I wanted to share with people. I wanted to open up about things that I figured out, and I wanted to share things that other people have figured out, because as Canadian artists right now, we're up against it. Like you said, financially, it's a real battle to market your song. And to record a song is one thing, and it's expensive as hell, but it's a finite price. And most of us can figure that out and get it done. The problem is the marketing. The problem is, we're putting 20%, maybe only 15% into recording, and then the rest of it's going to promotion. And artists feel bad about talking about this. That's the other thing. A lot of artists I talk to be like, don't talk about that. I'm like, why? It's the whole freaking game. The whole point is make your song get heard. And I said this yesterday. There's 100,000 new songs a day on Spotify. If you are not planning for success, you are going to fail. And that's not your fault. It's just, hey, 100,000 songs of people that are hungry. Like at least 10,000 of those people are really hungry every day. So kudos to you. You're killing it. You're inspiring people. What's next on the agenda?
Well, okay, you got me at a good time, because I just got back from Nashville the other day. I'll be around playing in Ottawa this weekend.
Get out there, Heart and Crown, folks.
The following weekend, I'm opening for Jade Eagleson, who's one of my favorite Canadian country artists, at Tweed Stampede. So that's a really big one for me, like very over the moon about that. And then, 2 weeks later, I'm back in Nashville recording. I'm actually, James Reed, he's from Ottawa. He's my drummer, my right-hand man there. He's coming to Nashville with me. He's going to record for my EP. We're doing 3 songs that week. We're playing in 2 full band showcases and the whole thing. So we got some fun stuff coming up, and I'm excited I get to bring him down with me, because he's been in Nashville already, but not when I was there. So I was like, this time we're going to take over, play a bunch of shows.
This is so exciting.
Yeah, we're very excited about it.
Heck yes, recording when you don't have to work is like so fun. It's like I get kicked out of the studio all the time because I make faces, but it's just like my guitarist will be like, get out. Because they'll be like right at the end and they'll like make a little mistake. But work, get out of the studio.
We're doing like I don't even know what it's actually called, but it's a live band recording for the EP. So he's going to be playing at the same time as these like insane Nashville musicians.
Live off the floor.
Live off the floor. Thank you. I'm like, I couldn't remember that. But yeah, we're having the fiddle, we're having the dobro, we're having everything.
Live off the floor.
Live off the floor. I'm so excited.
It's huge. It's incredibly difficult to pull off. It's the real test of musicianship. When you watch people do live off the floor, it's beautiful. Are you singing with them, or you're going to watch?
So, yeah, I am going to record my vocals for the two days following that. I'm not doing the vocals live off the floor.
It's a good idea.
Save that for Zach.
No, it's a really good idea. And honestly, as vocalists, we feel bad about this, but we don't.
I'll be there. I'll be there cheering them on. You keep that rhythm, James.
Yeah. Our last album, like 3 of them were live off the floor for several things, and like I was just like watching, like, oh, it's amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, can I do it now, Ross? The producer is like, no, we're taking our time with you, buddy. I'm like,
got 20 vocals.
Yeah. We're not
perfect vocals.
Yeah.
To choose from.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course, you get it. It's like you do it in 6. You do 6 good takes. You're like, yeah, and they're like 2 more just cause.
No.
It's like, I'm feeling tired. Tough it out. Damn it.
Yeah.
All right, folks, get out there right now. Go on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. Follow Nayana, Kathleen. Get out to Heart and Crown this weekend. If you love country music, this is where it's at right now. If you don't love country music, just love music. I just love music. And
here you go.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. You're awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm really glad you also live close by, which was about it sounds like this couldn't work out more perfectly.
Yes, and like you said, you did Hummingbird music lessons long ago. My band was jamming there not too long ago.
Oh, yeah.
In that space and loving it. Farhaven's a great place, folks. Although the drivers scare me sometimes. But that's just life.
That's today. That's everywhere today. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I just blame it in Barhaven. I just go there. Barnhaven people. It's me who's probably the bad driver. All right. Thank you for watching out there. And we will see you next time on All Worn Out. Bye, everybody.